We started with just Jack, Travis, and Chase taking all these photos together, which we used a lot. And then we got different people to kind of weave in to obviously be clients. These two are so great. They're also my parents. You pick them from wherever you can find them. I actually am very proud of the outfits they wear. I didn't dress them, but looking back, I'm like, I should have. But they did so good. I'm so proud. So we're going to talk about branding on a budget. So where do you start, right? And so again, all of you have started and you're all somewhere, but I think, either if you create a new one or even just thinking about where yours is at today, some of these components are really important, right? Like, what is your mission? What is your vision? How often are you communicating that to your internal team? It may be something that you communicate externally, it may not. But I think knowing what that is really important, and being able to communicate that and communicate that often. I think every one of you knows who your target audience is. We talked about that for the last 2 days. But I think being able, again, to think about what's important to them and what's going to, what are they going to lean on is always a part of branding. What's your unique selling proposition, right? So, how are you going to differentiate yourself? What's your strategy around that? What are some of the things that you're looking to accomplish there? We talked a little bit about brand personality, so again, helping build that trust and that recognition. And I think, again, one of the things that people rely the heaviest on and probably start at, which again, we did the same thing, it's really hard not to be like, let's create a logo, because it's fun, right? You've got this new brand. And so honestly, even looking at Coach G and looking back, like, we still have to vet probably a little bit of this out. But we probably started it at number 5 and was like, let's rock this. And then of course, kind of honing in on that with your brand guidelines. So I'm going to just quickly kind of show you the evolution of our brands and kind of how we started really truly on a budget and still kind of working in that frame a little bit. We just hired, like we said, Bradley, who is a rock star and is going to take probably a lot of it off of my plate, which is great. But, we didn't start that way, right? So how do we move from Chase Screening Agency to Greening Health and Wealth and now Coach G? So look at that beaut. Isn't that cute? That was on his holiday card, for the record. Like, he didn't have all the lights all the time. But so when I met Chase, no, it really was fine. But we were in COVID, I think, and we were sitting there and it was like, I think it's time for a good rebrand. And honestly, I think we probably were with Chase Screening Agency for maybe a few months on it. I don't even think we were there very long until, starting to, again, when you're sitting in COVID doing nothing, but also like sitting and thinking about your brand, thinking about that space and thinking about the trajectory and the growth and the mission and the vision and all the things that Chase started like spurring about. It was like, this is going to be more than just me, right? Like, I intend for this to be more than just me. I intend for this to be more than just insurance, right? There's a whole wealth component that I know I'm going to get to. And so naturally we changed it to Greening Health and Wealth and kind of moved on from there. And what's funny when you look at that one and when I look back at, and I created that on Canva. We'll talk a little bit about Canva. I mean, everything I do is on Canva, and I'm sure there's probably, other ways, but it's been fantastic for me to kind of accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. And that is $12.95 a month, $120 a year. And we've built this brand off Canva. And so, even looking back at that, like, we tried a few different brands and in the end, like, that landed and we've moved forward. And sometimes I see, like, on my Canva, I look back and I'm like, ooh, like, what if we would have picked that one? Thank God we didn't. And then even Coach G, like, we've transitioned a little bit through Coach G. Like, we started with, some of that marketing. We still see some of that, but we've really kind of probably landed on the guy with the blue and the dark blue and light blue. So color palette and fonts, right? So just really honestly, I think landing on something and sticking with it and feeling passionate about it. Chase loves blue, so we've always kind of landed on the blues, and he's always like, I want blue, and I'm like, okay. And really honestly, you're gonna laugh, but like, I was thinking about a complementary color, and like, that's close to UT's orange, and we live in Tennessee, and I was like, so looks great. And that's how we got there. And so just kind of figuring out what works for you, but now looking back at it and like seeing that pop of orange, like, that has become like a really distinctive game changer for our brand. And it's certainly something that we always go back to, saying like, man, that really pops. That's really awesome. And really kind of the same for Coach G. Again, he was Tennessee Titans. This is Titans blue close to it. So, that's how I landed on it. I was like, looks great, moving on. And sometimes you just have to do that to be able to continue to move forward, and you just pick and you roll, right? Let's talk about brand imagery. So I think this has always been a really important piece too, and this is, in a sense, something that you can spend really not a ton of money on, and it can make a really big impact on just having updated photos and updating imagery and really being able to determine like what do we want to showcase in that. And so you'll see a lot of ours is like elevated spaces. We do a lot of like outdoor shots. Obviously like what we're wearing is important. Making sure to, we progress. Like we started it started with just Jack, Travis, and Chase taking all these photos together, which we used a lot. And then we got different people to kind of weave in to obviously be clients. These two are so great. They're also my parents. You pick them from wherever you can find them. And I actually am very proud of the outfits they wear. I didn't dress them, but looking back, I'm like, I should have. But they did so good. I'm so proud. And part of that is like thinking about like, what are you wearing? Like, how does that complement your colors you've selected? Like, if you wear something crazy or they wear something kind of crazy, then all of a sudden, every time you try to do something, you're like, none of that matches, right? So that's important too. Here's Coach G. So let me tell you about Coach G. Chase hates this photo. Right? I know. So we've done no brand imagery for Coach G yet. And so you know where I plucked this from? Our wedding photos. And that's because I was like, look, like this brand to me, the vibe is totally different than GHW. Like you'll see he's in a few, but like I don't want him in a GHW shirt like it's totally different, right? We just haven't had the opportunity to do that. And so I was like, well, and you can find something better, but that's what I'm using. And then also we've done the nostalgic theme as well, right? So taking it back to his coaching days, it's obviously a whole sports theme, football, and being able to pluck some of those photos out has really kind of made it a part of that brand too. So looking back at that, like how do we utilize some of that? And also we had nothing else. So social media. Social media, like up until, I'd say 6 days ago, we ran both socials and continued to do that. And so, probably since the inception of the Greening Health and Wealth logo, like I was the one who created all of the posts that he was posting every single day. And again, a lot of it was just going into Canva and like finding a template and being like, cool, I can switch that up, and that looks great, right? So again, budget-wise, like it doesn't have to be, you don't have to hire someone, or you can hire someone and give them Canva and let them run with it, and it's not going to be super expensive to go in to do that. And similar with Coach G, obviously we've progressed since then, but. And then marketing collateral. So that was his original business card. Look at Fish looking great. We've made a transition to this is our business card, Medicare 101. So some of our direct mailers, all of that stuff we've done in-house up until this point. And, to grow from what we were to where we have been with utilizing Canva only, like is pretty awesome. And so once you get to that place, being able, again, to create kind of that brand kit is important for a lot of reasons, right? To showcase, the reputation of your brand and being able to, provide this to other marketing groups you use. So this is what's been awesome, is being able to say, here's who we are. So if you're putting stuff together for us, like this is what we utilize. And so as you look at the outsourced marketing that we have done, it's been awesome to like hand them that brand kit, and they've come up with that type of information, right? So it's not something that I've had to create or had to do too much guidance on, other than like here are some of the things that we utilize, and here's our colors and roll, and that's been really valuable as we've continued to grow. And then the same for strategic partnerships, right? So as you put these things together and it starts to kind of become really intentional with what you're doing, and you put other logos on there like that, part of that has been, again, how do you build that reputation to be able to do something like this, all those small steps along the way. And same thing with Coach G. We're just getting there, but we talked about this morning, and this is just in like a very early version. It'll probably look totally different by the time we do it. But being able to start to partner with other people, and a lot of that is based on the fact that you're like building a brand from the ground up, and you're showcasing that you've got meat and bones behind it. And so I would say that probably the most important thing, if you're either you don't have a ton of support in this area, or you want to grow it, but you again don't want to spend a ton of money in it, is surround yourself with tools that are going to support your strengths and assist your weaknesses. Probably one of my favorite things that I've learned in all of my development with a peer of mine. She has this whole idea around bubble wrapping, essentially I don't even like to use the word weaknesses, your opportunities, right? Lean into your strengths and find people, find things that are going to support you in those opportunities. Like, don't spend your time thinking that you're going to like change the world and become the best at it. Find people that are going to help you be really good at it. And so I think that's what tools like, and that's why I loved hearing what Victoria had to say, because I feel like tools like Canva and things like that really are going to drive you to be able to do that. And so this is our Canva, right? And you can kind of go back and look at all the different things that we have done this is like old stuff that we've done over the years. But I think what's really cool is Canva really helps guide you through the process. And so again, as you think about that brand kit I talked about, like Canva is going to help guide you through that totally. So here's like, what are your logos? Here's your colors. What fonts do you want to use? What's your voice? And I haven't even filled out some of this yet. And part of it's because I know it, but being able to have somebody on your team, like be able to pull from this once you get to that place. And same thing with Coach G, right? We've got quite a few logos in that function, but you're able to then also go to any kind of different thing. So say you're trying to up your Instagram game, you can go here, and obviously they're going to give you a ton of different things that you can choose from. And this is basically where I'd go. I'd find one that inspired me, and then I would change it to be insurance related, and I would change it to our colors, and I would be like, cool, sounds good, post, move on. So it's really not as scary as it feels. So I think it's important. I think it's valuable. And I think, like I said, I'm really passionate about it, but it definitely can drive your business in a really strong way. So, cool.